All right, it's noon and I think we've got a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and say that before we begin, that the new Zoom, Dartmouth Community Media has implemented new Zoom safety measures, so only board members and scheduled presenters can turn on their video camera. If you're not a board member, Patrick, and you would like to join us, then if you can raise your hand in the Zoom window, and Dartmouth Community Media will be able to turn on your video. And if that doesn't work, if you can just use the chat feature to chat with DCM.
Oh. Jim is there. Good.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
It doesn't seem like my video is restricted, and I can't figure out a way to raise my hand actually, but I will stay on it.
We can see it.
We can see it good.
It's not a good sign.
Patrick, part of a select
Given how often you're online.
We did a little pre-coordination there, so that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, Patrick already made you go DCTV, just to say, for anyone who needs to know, there's the raise hand button in the bottom center if you're using Zoom on a computer. It's in line with participants, chat, react, and there's a raise hand button. So if someone weren't able to turn on their video, they could just click that button. We would see that pop up.
Thank you.
Abby, I had one for, I think.
And I'm going to go ahead and start us off with a roll call. Andy.
Like another period for it to fully go away. I'm like, what?
Andrea.
Here.
And Eli, I think it's not on yet. Roger.
Here.
TJ.
Here.
Jamie.
Here.
And Dana here. All right. So we want to get to Patrick to start off to talk about the marina completion. But before we do that, maybe we could real quickly have a vote on last month's, or actually the December minutes.
Right. Move to approve December minutes, and thank you very much, Andrea.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, second.
Sorry, I didn't
Thank
attach
you.
By Andy. All right, and a roll call vote. Andy.
Yep.
Andrea.
Yep.
Roger.
Yes.
TJ.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
And Dana, yes. All right. So then the third item on the agenda is the marina completion update. And who wants to start there? Steve, you want to kind of give us a...
Well, we have got taken delivery of 2 piles and 4 sets of floats that are to be arranged with a finger pier extension to the northwest of the existing floats. And the floats have to be put in the water to properly position the pile driving. The hardware is here, but we don't have anyone to drive them. I was led to believe through the town administrator that we had a December 30th or 31st deadline for certain funding, and I wanted to get the facts down before I figure out if we blew that deadline, what can we do to make up. According to what Patrick has sent, and I read today, we should have sufficient funding, most of which is still in the ARPA. The town was to get control of that ARPA funding. I don't know if that means it had to be spent or that it could be spent at leisure, but we have 3 grants at work here. It's the ARPA funds transferred from Rogers Street. It's the SEC for the main project, and it's the match from the town Community Preservation Act group, CPC. And no excuse, but Chris Vitale was riding herd over this funding, and I don't. He left. He's in Westport. I was hoping to get some kind of an update or synopsis before he left. But but I don't have that and kind of swinging in the breeze. So obviously the work didn't get done by the end of December. Now we've got ice to contend with. We have time of year restrictions, and we have grant funding use deadlines. And that's where I'm at.
So how do we confirm that that's the ARPA funding is still out there?
I think ARPA would have to be through the town because that was done. Actually, that was done when Kevin went to the select board and asked for a transfer, and they gave it to him, and I never saw anything in writing. So I don't know what was going on with the ARPA, what it was designed for, when it needed to be spent by. So that would be through the town manager, or if a new person is hired to do the assistant job, then they'd have to be brought up to speed, and I would at the same time.
Is there a new economic development coordinator yet?
No, not that I'm aware of. I understand that there is a new spokesperson, community outreach, whatever the term is, that's supposed to start in the near future, but I have not heard any progress on the administrator, assistant economic development, whatever the title might be. So I will ask if Cody knows, but again, Cody's fairly recent. I'm not sure how much of an update he was given by Chris before he left. But he did bring it to my attention and asked that I bring it up. So we have the materials and we have the spot. We just need to get it done. And that apparently won't be able to be done now until spring, if I hear correctly.
Yep. Patrick, can you talk us a little bit through that, what the schedule is there and the potential
Yeah,
delays?
the contractor was kind of penciled in, doing it in December. I think he was trying to do it in conjunction with work that he was coming over for to do at the yacht club. I don't think he ever was able to make that happen. So he kind of played the weather issue in December and said I couldn't get there because of the weather, even though the weather was fine. And then come January, now he really can't get there because it's iced in. So, he understands that the town wants these 2 floats added before the boating season. So his plan is to come back in the spring, I think, in conjunction with the work that he has in the yacht club. But he gave us a pretty good price because he was going to be in the area. Most of the cost for this work is to get over here with the barge. So, I think that's why he's not trying to do it until he's coming over here for another reason. But he understands that the town's trying to do this before the spring boating season. But really, the big crux now is, do we still have the funds to pay him to do this? We've already bought the float and the pile, so if they stay on the ground for the season, they stay on the ground for the season. Nobody's at a loss there, but I can't have them come drive the piles if there's no money there to pay him.
What is the price, the contract price, or how much are we going to pay for the pile driving? The whole mobilization?
Yeah, off the top of my head.
Steve, where exactly are the funds now? Do we know?
No, I don't. Again, Chris was riding herd on that, and I know there's money there. I just don't know in what grant, in what is closed, and what is still available. I don't know.
Okay.
So the price I had from Cutty Hunk Marine was $5,000 to drive the 2 piles and do the hardware connections for the floats.
Okay.
So it is in writing. It was an email. It's under the procurement amounts for having to solicit 3 bids or go publicly with it. So it should be fine to be able to do that work. It's just about getting them here and making sure that there's money there to get paid.
So in my fallback, if we have to take this out of another account that we control, whether it's CVA or our own retained earnings, we pay our own way if need be. I mean, I think that's more important than missing the revenue or failing to complete the entire project. Obviously, first choice is to pay out of grant money, but
Yeah, I mean, so my experience with other municipalities is that the town accountant should have these in three separate pots, and they should be able to tell you how much has been drawn from each of those accounts. Um, so, we had given Chris a little bit of direction on the priority to draw down from each account, just to leave the town with the most flexibility as far as this SEC money, if it wasn't spent, it would have to be given back, where the ARPA money, the town remains controlling. So we had given him the priorities. Whether he followed those or not, I don't know. And whether any other funds were spent outside of the specific contracts, funds, I don't know that either. But we're still, if I deduct what I haven't spent out of my total contract, which I don't expect to spend all of it, we still should have about $30,000 in that account. But I just don't know which pot that $30,000 lies in, whether it's the SEC, the town match, or the ARPA funding.
Well, I guess Steve, why don't we just reach out to the town accounting and just get an accounting of what they spent the money from sources and uses, and then we'll go from there.
I'll do that.
Good.
I have a feeling it sounds like it's sitting somewhere.
As long as it's still reachable and not time closed out, that's fine.
But I would agree with Steve, if somehow the town lost our money, which wouldn't surprise me, this is important. We should just pay it out of our piggy bank, because quite honestly, $5,000 putting in those floats, we'll make that back, and it'll be an ongoing, very lucrative addition to the new small boat marina there. So we should, I think we have that, don't we, Steve, in our own big piggy bank that we control.
First of all, hi, Riley. Good to see you on camera. And yes, we do. We can take that out of our retained earnings, even that town match. If we haven't spent all of the money we put into a warrant article for this, the money is sitting in that warrant article.
Right.
So I left all of this up to Chris because it's what he wanted. And now I'm trying to regain where we are in the month.
I mean, to Roger's point, before we go down that route, which is obviously a fallback, because we'll never get the money transferred back to Waterways, I guarantee, if we use ours. So let's just figure out what we got and where it is.
Right.
The ice is going nowhere, so we're not gonna need it anytime soon.
No,
Yeah,
and that's
and there is a little bit of closeout that's going to be required for the permitting side of this. So I have funds left that I need some of it, but I don't necessarily need all of it for the oversight of the remaining part of the project. And
but Patrick, I don't know if you can transfer your funds back. If Waterways uses its money, we may have a hard time reallocating that money back. So I suggest that we look and see if we can find from the town what baskets they've been drawing out of, and go from there.
Right. Agreed.
And one way or the other, it's going to get done. It's just a matter of on whose dime.
And so there
Makes
is
sense.
one more issue. The order of conditions for this project expires in March, so I need to extend it just to be safe, to make sure that the pile driving can happen without that expiring. So that just takes a letter and a hearing. It's not a major lift on my end, but I don't know who the conservation agent is or where to send it at the moment. So I don't know if anybody here has any line of sight into.
It's still Mark Garrett on a consulting basis. He's retired. Yeah, he's retired, and he has an assistant who is not going to be taking over. And they're advertising for the position, but they've given him a 6-month contract to consult and continue what he's been doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and request that extension. The maximum extension is 3 years. So I was going to ask for 3 years, even though I might need 3 days.
Sure.
But just to leave you flexibility on that permit being open.
Yeah.
Let me think. The other ones, so you have DP, you have 5 years from 2022. So that one would expire sooner in 27, but you would, so you just have a little bit more time to do anything else that you wanted to do out there without having to get new permits.
Right.
They may give me a hard time about that. The 3 years, they may give me 1 year, but I'm going to start with 3 years. And if I have to walk it back, I will.
Good. All right. Anything else you need from us, Patrick, to move forward on that?
I don't think so. No, I'll just copy Steve when I submit the letter to conservation. usually they ask me to come to a hearing and just explain why. I'll let them know about the finger floats, and then I don't think anything on the town side.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean we've got a weather issue too. It's just, we missed our window due to weather too. So
Yeah, technically we would be within a time of year restriction, but when I do that extension, I'm going to have a conversation with the agent, because these piles would the time of year restriction was based on an environmental species line, which is way out on the very end of the floats, and these piles being inland would not be impacting that area. So I think I could get that waived. So at this point, I think we're going to move forward and do it and ask them.
but that would be great, Patrick. I mean, there's
That
no
hearing.
sense in having a restriction that doesn't apply.
Right. It shouldn't apply. So as long as they're reasonable, which, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, I'll
Begging-
make that request.
What is
Begging
the
forgiveness
the restriction? What,
January 15th to I'm not sure if it's May 31st or September 30th. I think it was September 30th, because that's why we planned to do it in the fall in the first place.
oh,
There's
So
a
it's a
little
pretty
baby
big window.
flounder there.
No, it was actually some kind of turtle, I think. It was outboard.
turtle,
It wasn't
Oh,
in the
probably
water. It was, yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Never saw one.
But it was like the corner of the float was over the line by 4 feet. So if we're 100 feet inland to the shore from that, I think I could talk us out of it.
We'll buy a bag of turtle food, make up for it.
All right. Anything else on that agenda item? Sounds like we've got a plan there.
I'm gonna jump off. Thank you,
you'll
everybody.
have to get that DMF conversation before you go to the order, or before you go to the Conservation Commission, right?
Yeah, I want to talk with Mark about it, just to make sure he's on the same page as me and would be behind it, so that if they go to him, he can agree. But I would do that first. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. I don't know if you're
Thanks,
gonna.
everybody.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, item 4, the dinghy and the kayak replacements. Rack replacements.
What I understand, we still have CPC funds, $9,000, which we are going to match with our own money since we didn't get the SEC funding. I've gone nowhere with this because everything else is just taking over. But the last advice I got from the town administrator was to break the project down so somebody could build the flat rack, somebody else could install the metal. And I think I'm going to go with something called KeePass, KeePass. It's similar to what the yacht club used, and it is like an erector set with pipe, galvanized pipe, 90-degree bends that have an Allen set key and bolts down into the base. Yacht club used those, and they're still holding together. They're a lot less expensive than having them custom made, and we can do that all day long with simple tools. So that's still in the works, but I don't have any idea who's going to build the base. I think it would be easier for me to just do it than find somebody to do it, but that's not going to happen the way things are going now either. But the goal is to set a number of kayak trees up instead of the dinghy racks, because we get more bang for the buck. We get 8 spots instead of 5, and the demand is there for kayaks instead of dinghies, especially when we can put the floats in and have dinghies in the water instead of dragging them up to the beach and putting them in the racks. So that's all I got on that.
All right. And the landing retaining wall update.
I sent out an email that Dana and I got from the state. We're on their list. We're on their radar, but it's funding, and at least we've made the request known that we need that wall to be repaired or replaced, and we've gotten in line. Whatever that means, I'm still waiting in line for the parking lot to be repaired, but that's only been about 15 years. So rather start early than after we need it.
And how about your clerical position?
Last month, last meeting, I announced that we had somebody that she was going to start. That was on the Tuesday. Friday of that week, I was told by HR the person had withdrawn their acceptance. There was no backup or number two position. And I was told then, which was week, I think before Christmas, that they were going to repost it and we'd start all over again. It's been reposted. We got 60 applicants. The HR department has culled that down to maybe 18 or so and passed the baton to myself and the deputy to interview those we find acceptable. I got those printed out on Friday, and we'll be working on that if we don't get snowed in, picking some candidates to interview and hopefully finding someone suitable. I did make mention to the town administrator that I was more than happy with the part-time assistants I've got now. But for reasons in their minds or their rationale, we need to go forward with hiring somebody full-time anyway. So we'll do as told. But again, out of the last round, we had two worth interviewing and one worth offering. And we're getting a lot of people that are seasonally unemployed that have obligations to apply for jobs, and they're doing that. And hopefully we're able to cull through that situation, and we'll see. But we're back at square one.
Unfortunate, but we'll keep our fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. With or without, we'll get through. We did fine last year. We're doing great now. Without a full-time position, without the expense of a full-time position. So I'll keep you informed.
Thanks. All right, you want to talk us through the budget summary that you had sent out?
Yeah, budgets were due the day after Christmas. And I don't know if you remember, but I had the flu and a fever, and I put together a budget and submitted it on time. No radical changes from last year. We did allocate $54,000 for a clerical position and benefits, which threw off a little bit the assistant salary. But other than that, not a lot has changed. We still estimating $15,000 on marina revenue. I haven't gotten the final figure, but I think that's in line with what we received for the last season. And whether we get the extra finger floats in on time will determine whether we go up or stay the same. So not any surprises that I'm aware of. I did have one meeting with the treasurer and a member of the finance committee. I guess it's sort of defending the budget, and there were no pointed questions. There were no issues raised. Part of this process is also the capital improvement plan, and I've been instructed to list a new department truck based on the age only of my truck. It's 10 years old, 11 years old, and the town wants to rotate on a 10-year basis. So that truck would be replaced with similar. And my truck would end up going to the deputy, and his truck would be auctioned off, his Tahoe. I haven't heard anything on the capital plan. The only other item we have pending under capital improvement would be the replacement of both outboards on our winter rescue boat. And I think that will be in the pipeline. Let the capital committee will give priority over one to the other, and we'll move forward under their guidance. But both of those deadlines were met and submitted, and we're just waiting for the process before the Springtown meeting.
Any discussion or questions on that? All right. Sorry, Eli joined us a while back. We didn't recognize him, but good to see you, Eli.
Hey guys, sorry. Apologize for being late.
No problem.
Fighting the elements today a little bit.
Good to
All
be
right.
inside.
How about item 8?
There is I'm sure you may have read that the town now has a substance abuse coordinator. And Rachel is doing a project townwide with grant funding to place something called a Knox box, which is naloxone in public places where the public can take it for use or use it. It's a serious problem. I'm listening all day to the police and rescue for overdoses in residents, overdoses in parked cars, and overdoses in a lot of the hotels. We brought this subject up maybe 10 years ago when my staff and I were certified or updated in our medical response, and this was part of it. And she's asking that one of the public places it be a box be mounted would be to the landing shed, and whether it's under the cameras or on the side away from the cameras, I'm not sure yet. We'll work on that, and that we be allocated carry the spray in case we encounter an overdose in our patrolling. It's just another tool in the box, and I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's coming at us from all walks of life. So the fact that I have not encountered an overdose on a vessel surprises me. But I told her I would bring it up for discussion. I don't know. I guess the commission has the ability to make recommendations, but the town directs, and I'm not sure how this will go because it's relatively new, but they are putting these in all town locations that make sense. So, any discussion on that? Or thoughts?
Steve, are you getting this for free from the town? Is this
Yeah,
this is all
there's
paid
no,
for?
all paid for, no expense.
Okay.
It'll be managed and overseen by the town coordinator. And
And what's inside this box?
it's a nasal spray of naloxone, or I
Okay.
forget all the terms they use, but it's the reverses the overdose
Right.
effect, blocks the uptake of it.
And it's open. The box is open. Anybody can
Yes.
just reach in and grab
Like
it.
children?
Well,
Yeah, I'm a little concerned
I mean,
about
we
that.
lost
but,
our minds.
yeah,
Well-
that's my point. I mean, if we're going to put the box up there, great. But I think it should be in an area where we can see it with our camera clearly, and there should be, I guess, wouldn't you agree, TJ, signage of some kind? Only use as necessary. I don't know. It does seem a
I
little
think
weird.
it's called creating an attractive nuisance for young adults. But
well, yeah, it goes, I think, along with the free dispensing of the condoms that town hall had been doing for years. But this is seen as more of a life-saving reality in today's world. I don't know. I can't.
Unless it's abused, that's my point. And
Well-
if somebody who doesn't need it starts or just takes it to wreak
if
havoc.
they- If from my training, if someone takes this and they don't need it, or it's applied to someone who is not actually overdosing, it has zero impact.
Okay.
It will not
Okay.
affect a normally healthy person. You will not
That's
get
good.
high from it, and it will not allow you to get higher or less high. It's going to block what's already in your system. So
That should be made clear, I think,
Yeah.
in the signage, so that nobody steals it thinking they're.
Yeah.
As I said, it'd be interesting to see how the town is rolling it out in all the other locations and kind of what the protocols are around that. It's not like they just want to do it in this one spot. It's kind of
no,
a town-wide rollout. Be curious
No,
how they're addressing those questions.
yep,
Yeah, I think the bigger risk is people just taking it to have it. So if the town is willing to replace it,
they are.
maybe it's
Yeah,
not
I
the
asked
worst
that.
thing.
I asked that question. If somebody wanted to go to these boxes at wherever they are and take it and put it in their pocket just in case, at home or somewhere else, they're fine with that.
Okay.
They're taking the attitude, we get this out there as much as possible rather than restrict it. And I know that it's not free and it's not cheap, but at the rate I'm hearing this stuff being given out over the calls, it's probably one of the bigger expenses.
Yeah. Have you been trained in using it, Steve?
Yes, yes, we all in the office have. It's part of the first aid, first responder
Like
training.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Steve,
all the
Steve,
cautions that go with it. What was that?
is this something that you keep on any of the boats or in your truck?
At this point, no. Based on a prior vote of the Waterways Commission, it was not put in our first aid kit. If this town-wide policy goes into effect, it will be in all of our first aid kits, boats, trucks, office. Again, another tool in the toolbox.
Okay.
So
It
there's a
should be by the
policy that
camera.
needs to be approved before all this happens?
No, I believe it's going to be a town-wide policy that's issued to us, but I'm bringing it to your attention. I don't know, again, if the Waterways Commission has advisory responsibility to the select board. If there's advice against it for any reason, I can't get in the middle of that, but I don't know.
I would
Again,
say
it's
that's
all
a
new.
town decision, Steve, and that wherever the town tells you to put it, and however they tell you to secure it or not secure it or whatever, belongs to the town, not Waterways.
Right. I don't want a commission member to drive through the landing and see something new and say, what is this all about? So I'm bringing it up, the issue of age level and children. Maybe we put it up higher, but then it's not handicap accessible. I mean, there so many things come to mind. The discussion about whether we put it under the camera so it can be monitored brought up the reluctance of some people to avail themselves of it if they think they're going to be captured on camera, and that have a chilling effect, possibly saving a life. I things I when you think it through, you can overthink it, but those issues have been brought up.
I think we should just rely on whatever the town tells us to do. I really think this should be an advisory issue, not a vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. Appreciate they bringing it forward so we know, but right.
I also appreciate the town putting their effort into getting this funding. Sounds like a real useful program.
Agreed.
All right. And what's happening with town moorings?
Well, we had an interesting brush up, if you will. They had issued us an invoice for the first year's work, and we held off paying that until they got us a usable product. Last fall, we had functioning and functionality, and we were at the end of the year, so we paid that first invoice. Town Moorings decided to apply that payment to the second year of the contract and immediately sent us a delinquency for the first year. I explained that we paid the first year and we were holding off on the second year until certain milestones were reached. Well, right about the time we started preparing the billing for next season, I got a nasty gram saying that they were going to shut us off because we were delinquent and couldn't believe we would not pay $3,000 and that they were making great efforts and blah, blah. So I was over a barrel, so to speak, and we do need to send out bills in the next 2-3 weeks. So I paid the second year invoice with a letter or an email explaining that we had high expectations, that they hadn't been met, that we had changed our practices to suit their product in as many ways as possible, but that we did have concerns going forward. So having no option in my eyes, we paid for the second year. We are covered through the season and the billing will go out. That being said, we sent out a test email, and once again, it went to people that no longer have moorings, no longer have boats, that should be inactive, but their system doesn't allow us to keep them inactive if they've ever been there. So we've made a workaround that if you lose your mooring, your boat, you're no longer active, we can't make you inactive to get our emails, but we can delete the email. And that's how we've dealt with another problem in the database. It's funny because we were quoted by another database company promising us the world. Reviews on that were so-so, and rather than just keep jumping from sinking ship to sinking ship, we decided to stay with the one that we've got floating right now. But that's the status. There'll be invoices mostly by email. Laurie in my office decided that this year we should have people come and pick up their decals so they get to meet us and we get to meet them and prevent us from having mail things that get lost in the mail. Or anyway, she set up 2 weekends with the Maritime Center, and the part-time clerical staff will be there greeting the boaters, handing out the decals, and those that can't make it for obvious reasons that we all know will get them mailed. But it's sort of a public outreach, I guess, and we'll see how that goes. I know other towns require that you pick up your permits in person. I know that there's grumbling about that and it's inconvenient, but moorings are that important on the Cape, and they can put whatever hurdles they want. People will jump them. I'm hoping this isn't seen as a hurdle, but more as an opportunity, and we'll try to keep it positive. So that's where we are.
Might I make a recommendation, Steve, when that time comes? I guess February is coming up fast. A quick little public relations outreach to the local paper saying this is how we're going to do it. And we're doing with that spin. We really do want to meet you and meet the boaters and come to the Maritime Center and spin it that way. If you need help with that, I'm happy to, put words together. But I do think we need to have better communication and let everybody know.
Steve, are you going to tell people that can't make it to mail it, or what's going to be the procedure on that?
I've got to find a way to word it so that everyone doesn't just say, "Oh, never mind, I'll just get it by mail." But I don't know, maybe there's a carrot instead of a stick that we can lure people to come meet us with cookies or something. I don't know. But yes, we will spell it out that it is not the only option, but it is the preferred option or the preferred method, and we'll go in that direction. I mean, there are people that frankly don't live in the area until June, July, and August, and
that's what I was thinking about. Or people who aren't here for the winter.
Sure, I mean, we've got to take good care of the lucky people too, and those that are not shoveling this snow. But I'm looking more to make it a positive rather than a negative, and but we'll see.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm sorry, Andy, I didn't.
I just think it's a great idea to get people in and meet them. So it's nice to have faces.
So Steve, because I got the email initially, was that just that was just a test email, you're saying?
It was designed as a, I guess, a feeler to make sure that it would still go out and it would go out to the right people. Right. And again, we got dozens of replies back. I've already told you I don't have a boat, I don't have a mooring, and it falls on the database and the inability to make someone inactive. So that's why we did send it out. And again, those people that replied, that corrected it, they won't be getting an invoice, especially not an invoice that shows zero due. So yeah, it's all part of the further testing of the database to make sure that it's working properly. I guess that's what that email that everyone got was about. And the other problem is people change their emails like I changed my socks. So we want to make sure we've got the most current.
I think the other bigger problem is there's been so much crap that's coming through the emails now that people just aren't looking at them like they used to.
Nope. No, it's overload.
Yeah, and even stuff that you've permitted, and I'm looking at my Gmail account, I find in the spam or trash all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
So if the database doesn't allow us to make accounts inactive, what was the workaround?
Let's say you've got an account. Your account is centered around your email. That's how your unique identification is, your email address. You had a mooring, you had a boat. You sold the mooring, you sold the boat and you gave back the mooring. We reassign the mooring that mooring is now attached to somebody else's unique email. The boat is gone. It's sold. It doesn't have a location, so the boat doesn't come up as active. But you as a person still have that unique email address in our database. So our database wants to reach out to you. In the old system, we would push a button that said you are inactive. Your information is still there for historical purposes. If we ever needed to get back to you, your boat's found somewhere 10 years later, we know who you were. But with the new one, we cannot make you inactive. We can't toggle you on and off. So we have to just erase your email address. And now we can no longer send you email. That's our fix, our workaround. And again,
it can't be the opposite, which is make the unique identifier the mooring number.
You're asking the wrong guy. I am not a computer person, database person. I trusted that we would hire a company that would give us what we needed. I asked the simple question and their answer was no. I can't question them on that because I'm learning as I go, and I'm not learning too quickly at my age. But yes, that's our workaround. Does work, but it's not the best solution in my mind.
As long as you have a copy of, a copy of past years, you haven't lost their names.
No, I'm going back
That's
to paper.
too bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dana has a better solution.
Well, I'm more focused on the billing, the invoicing, that kind of stuff, keeping the mooring inspections up to date. That to me is paramount. Historical data is important, but it has to take a back seat to going forward. So yeah, we have the old database still here in the office. I still need that to assign moorings because of other shortcomings with Town Moorings database. So yeah, we're running belt and suspenders for another year.
I wonder if there's a way to just folks that don't have a boat or a mooring anymore just make their balance zero in perpetuity. So if they sign in, they just don't owe anything.
Right. The problem is they're still getting notifications because they're still an active person in our database, and we're sending out an invoice due with a balance of zero. And that triggers people somehow. I would say, okay, but yeah. So we do keep their email in the notes section, and we have that for historical purposes. But if we put it where the email is supposed to go in the database, that person is still alive and active.
Seems like a reasonable seems like a reasonable workaround. You still have the data somewhere.
I do. It's an extra step.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's working. It's a workaround that works. So
inelegant, but works. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that fits my purposes, I guess. Yeah. Suits me to a T. While we're talking tech, we are going to be merging our DartmouthHarborMaster.com into the town website. We were reluctant to do this years ago because the town site, quite frankly, sucked, and it has been improved. And I have lost my tech support to keep the town, to keep DartmouthHarborMaster.com up to date, accurate. So at some point over this coming year, calendar year, I'll be working with the town. Chad, I forgot his title, but we're going to be merged into the, so we will have a presence, our own page on the town website, and we will no longer need to pay for GoDaddy or whatever else we're paying to maintain a separate website. And I will have tech support at Town Hall to be able to update that daily, hourly as needed.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It's cutting the cord kind of, or hooking up the cord to the town, but it's a reality going forward. Have to simplify where we can.
Yep.
And
they don't have any problem with you keeping your cam and other things up?
Well, that's something that needs to be looked at. That's why it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to take Chad to work on that. We are the only department in town that has a webcam. Whether or not that webcam can translate to the town site or not, I don't know. Our weather page presence, don't know if we can link to that. Again, these are great questions for someone much better educated in the subject than I am. I'm still looking for the any key on my keyboard. So
I don't know. Make our lives easier. Just talking about how it doesn't work.
what's that?
All the tech.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
It creates more problems than it solves.
As a kid, before there were computers, if I wanted to know the weather, I'd look out the window. Now it's Windows and it's an app and it's more complicated, and everything that's supposed to make our life easier seems to do the exact opposite. But if it's one less thing I've got to maintain, which is a separate website, then I think it's worth doing. So that's it on the town
Right.
tech.
And your annual report?
I'm required to write as a department head every year an annual town report. They don't change much from year to year, but I try to put some current information, relevant information, interesting information in the report. I've also maintained and not been contradicted that this annual town report satisfies the requirement of the Waterways Commission to report annually to the Select Board the condition and status of the waterways and facilities. And that's under bylaw 104-3B. So I prepare it, I present it to you. If there are any changes or errors or omissions, and I will change the heading so that the vice chair is properly identified. But if that goes into the town report, it's actually reported to the town clerk, who is the keeper of town records. They used to publish a book. I don't believe that's done anymore. I think it's just done on the website for the town. And that's due this week. So it's been done for a while. I just wanted to review, and I'll submit it to the clerk. And that's it.
It certainly looked good, but you might want to identify me as the secretary because I think that's been required by the town.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. I will do that, and I will change TJ to the vice chair. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Great
thought
job.
it was very well written, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was especially nice to see you put some serious time into Warren Hathaway's persona. I think that's
It was
wonderful.
Yeah.
I agree with Andrea on that.
well warranted.
Yeah.
But Warren,
All right, we're down to item 12. We're in the home stretch. Any update from the Town Clean Water Group?
I don't know if Steve has heard anything else. Chris has offered to be available to the Waterways Commission to give us an update. But one thing he did mention was that there is going to be a spring sampling season, and it's going to, and they're talking about adding some new sites to complement what was done back by DEP in 2000. He and I talked about the possibility of having a public forum. People want to know what's going on with water quality. And he said that UMass would be available, that the SMass facility would be available. And he thought maybe it'd be a February, March, but I don't have any dates on that. March makes a lot of sense because it's the sampling season usually begins in April. So it gets people, gives people timely notice. So either we do it, either we host it at a one of our regular meetings, or it's a separate standalone event is, a question along with the date.
So any thoughts on that? Any feel for what kind of, how long the update would?
Something like this usually is a 20-minute presentation with questions and answers. I personally don't think a Tuesday at noon is the most attractive time to get people,
I also
except
think
for us.
there's a lot
Perhaps
of
should organize it separately then, to Andrew's point.
I do think there's a lot of conversation around this particular issue as well. So it might be more than our typical meeting might want to handle.
Is this something that we'd be looking at a joint meeting of the Waterways and the Health Department, Health Commission, the Board of Health? That's what I'm looking at.
Well, I mean, maybe the health department sponsors it, and then we make note of it at our next meeting that's going to be on such and such a date to kind of let people know who are tuning into this one that's going to exist also.
Well, let me ask, because I haven't heard of any meetings, but is the Clean Water Group still meeting? Is it still viable?
It isn't meeting. There's some question as to whether or not people have been appointed to the board, and even though they haven't asked to be appointed, speaking personally, the problem was that the mission statement was really, really large. It was like world peace.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to sign up, and I know a couple other people who weren't going to sign up for something that was as wide ranging, that didn't have a concrete ability to be successful. So no, it's not meeting. And so who hosts this meeting becomes pretty important. And so to TJ's point, we could be someone who, provides notice to it. But there are a couple members of the Waterways Committee who, take an interest in this. And so if we wanted to host it, that would be great too, because it would give the Clean Water Group a home. But that's probably a bigger issue than.
I was going to say, I'm not sure that falls
into
the purview of Waterways at that point. I think the Department of Health should probably host it. Well, obviously with our support.
Yeah. It was David Tattlebaum who I think envisioned a lot of this, saw this as bigger than the Waterways Commission, bigger than the tidal waterways, because it impacted ponds, rivers, all of that, and all of the feeding that goes into the waterways. So it was larger than just the tidal waterways purview of the Waterways Commission.
And that's the problem with the topic.
Yeah.
There is no one department that can handle it without the support of other departments and other commissions, because it is ubiquitous.
Agreed, Andrea. So what we really should do is get Board of Health to sponsor it, but we'll be there for this topic only that we can control, surveying and sampling our waterways, and talk about that, because people would like to know about that. Make it, as you said, 4 or 5 o'clock, some time when people can get to it. That's what I'd do. I'd reach out to Chris and just say, hey, we're happy to be with you, but only for this one narrow topic. They were doing, as you said, they were trying to create world peace, and it's unachievable. It was just doomed for failure.
Not that, as Eli pointed out, there's a lot of interest in town. So, and there has been action taken. So, if you're okay with it, I'll continue to work with Chris to get a date, probably in March.
Yeah.
Be great.
Do that. See what he says.
Thanks, Andrew. Any other news or happenings?
Only thing I've got is ice, and the kind that's all in the harbor. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I want to talk shallops.
Shallops. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I thought that was on the list. I didn't put it on the
that.
list.
I want to talk shallops here.
Hey.
Yeah.
I personally like them seared with a little butter, but what the hell is going on? Where is their shallop going to stay? Do they know it's the middle of August? I mean,
Yeah.
I want to sail over to Cuttyhunk and see a shallop in the middle of a crowded harbor in Cuttyhunk. Oh my God. And Andy, where are they going to park right down here on your dock?
They're just stopping by CBC, so we're like a quick stop so the kids can see it and then they leave.
That they go to Cuttyhunk from
They go to
CBC.
Cuttyhunk.
Oh boy.
They are asking for one night tied to the pier, whether it's
What place?
whether it's Hathaway Pier or it's the Maritime Center, and they want to do a little press and public outreach, which sounds
T-shirts.
yeah, well, maybe. I've reached out to Brock Cordero. You may know that name. He was active in town, and he did I don't know if it was a thesis or he did a lot of research on Paul Cuffey, and that's who this is centered around. So he's interested. I don't know to what degree, but this is a hands off for us. We just provide them with a berth. May have to help them through the bridge. Because although it does have some auxiliary power, they don't want the public to see that. We'll see how that goes. But it's a small 16, 18 foot. I don't remember the size. And it's going to attract a little bit of attention.
I like it.
I think it's great. I mean,
I like it.
The big push is going to be Westport and Nantucket. Those are the big events. There'll be a film showing at the Whaling Museum.
And then
Paden Aram, CBC, Cuttyhunk. Those are quick stops. Kind of in between the big village.
Steve, if they're going to go inside, just make sure that they understand how the bridge currents work.
Oh, I made that clear.
I'd hate to take them off the bridge.
I've worked so far. I've been working with Jonathan Armstrong and his brother Richard. They're sponsoring this, I guess. They're the front men. Jonathan is the lead for the harbor when they visit Paden Aram. I'm trying to get something with the yacht club. So while they're waiting for the bridge for an hour, maybe an hour or two, there can be a stop there. And it just, the public will be able to go down, stand on the dock and look at it and go, so this is a wooden boat. Okay. And eat their ice cream, whatever. There's a lot of history to it that fascinated me when I read about them and what they were able to do as blockade runners. I don't think it's going to give anybody the idea that they can conquer a trip to Nantucket on a boat like this on their own, but it did happen.
They have a towboat, so hey.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
It is very cool.
Yeah, it's it's a kind of oddity, I guess, that it could put us on the map. It could at least contribute to putting us on the map, or it could at least spark some public interest in the way things used to be around here before computers.
So
It
Steve,
would come full circle.
Oh yeah,
Andy, did you ask for them to come visit you, or did they seek you out?
They've seeked us out.
yeah, they sought us out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think originally they envisioned something a little bit longer where we were, but with Westport, I think Westport's going to be a couple days to make the whole journey happen. I mean, they're coming back and forth from Plymouth through the canal both ways, so it's pretty big journey. They're putting a lot of really good marketing materials together to kind of really help drive awareness. I mean, it's pretty cool.
yeah. Thank you, Roger, for raising that one.
Shallops are us.
Yeah. Any other items or public comment? I'm guessing not. So our next meeting, we went back to our old schedule. We have our next meeting would normally be on February 10th. That seems a little soon. So I'm going to suggest March 10th.
I would agree with that.
Works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noon on March 10th.
Works for me.
Thank you.
Good here, March 7th.
All right.
Thank you.